back with Creepy. Yes, I know Power Rangers is also one that we do, and I'll probably try to slide that in on Monday. So let's see how well we can get that one in. But we're gonna do Creepy because I still kind of want to do some of these, and of course I'll also be doing the Vampirella Comics magazine. So you'll see me switching off between those and bringing Eerie in and just kind of maybe doing the horror comics throughout the weeks and see if those work out pretty good. Okay, so number 3, 50 spine-tingling pages of weird tales by the world's greatest comic artists. This issue, Vampire Family, The Telltale Heart, and other stories by our mystery masters. Oh, they're doing an adaptation of The Telltale Heart. A ghoul is, according to Webster, an imaginary evil being who robs graves and feeds upon corpses. Perhaps Webster would have forgotten the word imaginary if he had, as you're going to see now, seen the grave facts in Creepy's loathsome lore. Primitive man believed by eating the heart and brains of a slain enemy that he could increase his own courage and skill in battle, and in facing his wife's cooking. Early practices of burial without medical examination led to occasional mistakes. Hapless live victims would claw their way to the surface, at times only to die of shock and exposure. Found in this state, they were believed to be the victims of ghouls. 19th century Scotland produced Burke and Hare, who earned a nice living grabbing bodies from graves and selling them to medical schools. Then they found a nicer living grabbing people from the street. Inevitably, they were grabbed by the law and the hangman's rope. Paris was outraged by the activities of a Sergeant Bertrand of the French army, a ghoul in the classic sense. Bertrand was brought to justice when the authorities lost interest in the classics. Are there ghouls around today? Don't count them out. Who really knows for sure the habits of the person next to him? Who really knows for sure the habits of the person next to him? After all, one man's meat is another man's person. Creepy number 3. Frank Frazetta on the cover there. Joe Orlando. Let's see. Swamp, Telltale Heart, Howling Success, Haunted, Incident in the Beyond. Ooh, that sounds cool. And Return Trip. Got Dear Uncle Creepy. Not saying anything. Jinkies, it's sure creepy in here. That's my name. What's yours? I are also a fan of yours. I've read your magazine. You're one of my famous monsters. Flattery will get you everywhere, but unfortunately I have orders to put you on the rack. A hat rack. On the rack. Heh. Is this your friend? Rock. Oh, that's supposed to be Rocky and Bullwinkle. Wow. Okay. Come on, you red-blooded readers. Go south for the winter and meet Drusilla. You gotta be red-blooded to meet her because she's a vampire. Don't be too worried. It's the height of the tourist season and Drusilla and her family are usually swamped. Getting dark, Sheriff. Reckon we ought to turn back? We got torches. No turning back to that mad dog's back in irons. Ain't nobody ever been this deep in the swamp before. I'd say it's likely old Leroy get killed on his own without our running him down. I can't take the chance. He's got away once. We don't stop till Leroy Kane's brought to heel. Woo boy! Left that posse way back. They'll keep a-coming through. They'll keep a-coming though. Sheriff won't let 'em stop. Not after what I did to his wife. No, sir. Dang near grew up in this swamp. Never seen this part before. Be pitch black soon. Gotta find some place to settle. No, you don't, Cottonmouth. Pow! Ain't no snake, nor varmint, nor a hard-hunting sheriff's pussy gonna get Leroy Kane. I'm walking out of this swamp, and I'm a-walking out a free man. Hey, what's that ahead? Woo boy! Smack dab in the middle of this godforsaken swamp? Something weird about that. Probably ain't been lived in since the war between the states. Well, it's gonna get lived in by me tonight for sure. Silver candlesticks. I may just walk out of here at Rich Man in the morning. Good evening. What the? A gal? Don't make no sudden moves, little gal. Leroy Kane wouldn't think twice about shooting a woman. Who are you? What are y'all doing here? My name is Drusilla. I live here with my aunt and uncle. Aunt and uncle? Behind you. Stand back. First one makes the wrong move gonna be dead. Look into my eyes, Mr. Kane. Can you see any harm there? Why all this talk of shooting? Wouldn't you much rather... Hey! Kiss me? What the... You bit me in the neck! Naturally, Mr. Kane. After all, we're vampires, and you're our first guest in a long, long time. Pow! 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 Your gun is useless, Mr. Kane. We're quite immune to bullets. Wait, get back. I'll make a deal. Why settle for me when I can lead you to well nigh a dozen men? No tricks, Mr. Kane. Ain't no tricks, honey. They's a posse trailing me through this swamp. I can backtrack, find 'em, and lead 'em to y'all. We can follow him in bat form to make sure he doesn't try to get away. You'll see, a whole posse for the picking. What'd I tell you? Go get 'em. Hey, what's that swooping around? Bats attacking. Those ain't bats, they're vampires. Yeah, no. They done it. Killed 'em all. There, I kept my word, huh? Gonna let me go? Hey, get back! Get back! I kept my word! Take him back to the mansion and lock him up. We'll need him tomorrow night. But I made a deal! A deal! Been dang near all day at this. Tough old door. Ought to be ready to go now. Chain gang couldn't hold me. Neither can these critters. Here tell these and the heart'll fix a vampire for sure. Night's falling. Best be quick, or they be up and around. Here you go, Auntie. Crack! And for Uncle, thunk. Drusilla, honey, you done overslept. Forever. You good. Ha ha ha. Ain't nothing can stop Leroy Kane. Vampire's dead. Posse's dead. I'm walking out of this swamp and walking out free. Eee! That was her screaming. Woo boy, walking out free. Got me a bonus of all this silverware in the bargain. Yes, sir, done real good. Hey, what's that noise? Flap, flap. Bats. Can't be. I killed 'em all. Killed all them critters. Flap, flap. Guess you didn't know some things, Kane. Guess you didn't know every victim of a vampire turns into a vampire himself. Too bad you didn't know that, huh, Kane? Yeah! Poor old Kane really got swamped, didn't he? But don't worry about him, little fiends. He's still around, for he too is a vampire. Tough luck, eh? Anyway, guess it beats prison. End. Now, guys and ghouls, Uncle Creepy's dug up a special treat for you. I poked around in the dungeon's darkest, dankest corner and came up with creepy classics. Horror yarn spun by old masters of the cold chill. Those guys were almost as frightened as I am, and they're human. Ready for the first one? A creepy classic from the petrifying pen of Edgar Allan Poe. Cock your ear and await the beat of Telltale Heart. This is unnecessary. I'm not insane. You don't have to use this straitjacket. True, I am, and had been nervous, dreadfully nervous. But why will you say I'm mad? Just sit still till the doctor comes. The nervousness sharpens my senses. Didn't destroy, didn't dull them. Particularly my sense of hearing, highly developed. I heard all things in heaven and earth and elsewhere. How then am I mad? Listen, listen closely. Observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Ah, still working, Robert. A man never had a finer servant. Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. I was just going to read a little before going to bed. You should relax yourself, Robert. Sometimes I think you work too hard. He had never wronged me. He had never given me an insult. For his gold I had no desire. Since you're up, Robert, could you bring me a small glass of brandy? I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. No, no, Robert, this is wine. Why, man, you're trembling. Is something bothering you, Robert? One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell on me, my blood ran cold. Oh, well, it looks so good, probably better than the brandy anyway, eh, Robert? So by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. You think I'm mad, but no madman could ever have proceeded with the wisdom, the caution, the foresight that I did the week before I killed the old man. Each night I, oh, so gently, opened the door to his room just enough to admit my head, and the lantern, sometimes taking an hour to do so. Would a madman have been so wise as this? Then, oh, so cautiously, I allowed a thin beam from the lantern to fall on the vulture eye. For 7 nights, but always it was closed, and so impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more slowly than did I. I had my head in, and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped on the fastening. "Who's there?" I kept still and said nothing. His room was pitch black with thick darkness. I knew he could not see the opening of the door. For an hour I did not move, but neither would he lie down. Then there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound. Thump, 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 thump. I knew that sound. The beating of the old man's heart. Building in me a fury as the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier into courage. "Someone's there. Who are you? Speak out." The hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and louder every instant. I opened a very, very little crevice in the lantern. A single ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out from the opening, falling full on the vulture eye. It was open, wide, wide open. "Robert, Robert, is that you?" The old man's terror must have been extreme. The beating grew louder and louder. I thought the heart would burst. Ever quicker and louder. I feared a neighbor would hear the sound. The old man's hour had come. Thump, thump, thump. "Enough! Stop that sound! Close that hideous evil vulture eye! Stop it! Stop that noise! Stop that beating! No more! No more noise! No more eye!" Thump! The beating had ceased. The old man was dead. I examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. The old man was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer after the wise precautions I took for concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence, dismembering the corpse, head, arms, legs, piece by careful piece. I took up 3 planks from the flooring and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the boards so no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. Nothing to wash out, no stain, no blood spot. The tub had caught all. The doorbell. 4 in the morning. Ring! "Police, sir. One of your neighbors thought they heard a scream. Headquarters sent us over to have a look around." I fear I screamed a nightmare. The master's away in the country. I'm the only one in the house. "But you're welcome. In fact, I insist that you make a thorough search of the premises. Look, please, look closely. Satisfy yourselves. Nothing out of place. Nothing amiss." What had I to fear? The officers were satisfied. My manner convinced them. We chatted cheerily in the very room. Chairs over the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the old man. Here, the figurines, statuettes, very valuable. You see, they're undisturbed. Had there been a housebreaker, he'd have taken these. See? So delicate, so beautiful. Observe the fine craftsmanship, the detail of the carve. Thump, 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 thump. Do you hear that? That sound? Sound, sir? What sound is that? Thump, thump, thump. Why, rather a low, quick sound, much as a watch would make when enveloped in cotton. Oh, no, sir, don't hear any sound like that. The-bump, 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 the-bump. Yes, well, where was I? Oh, the statuette. See how the carving is so delicately, the carving is so, thump, thump, the-bump. Surely, gentlemen, you must now hear it. The sound is quite loud and it makes it hard to think, to talk. Don't you hear it? Thump! Thump! Sir, I can't hear a thing. There is no sound. Perhaps you'd best sit down, sir. You don't look well. Thump! Thump! You're lying. You must hear it. It's getting louder and louder and louder. You must hear. You hear. You know. I suspect. Stop mocking me. I know you hear. No more. No more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. The bump. The bump. The bump. The bump. The bump. The bump. Here. Here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. The bump. The bump. Good Lord. Ugh. You see? I'm not mad. It's my acute sense of hearing. When I thrust my head through the window of the police van, they called it madness. It was only to escape the sound, the beating of the old man's heart. That's right. Just keep talking while I remove those bandages. Even now, I still hear it. But I'm in control. Beat on, hideous heart. I ignore you. Loud as you beat, the old man can't come back. I'm free of his evil eye forever. That's the last one. Some of the scars need time to heal. But you're coming along nicely. Amazing luck with all the glass we had to remove. Have a look in this mirror over here. See what a lucky man you are. Yeah! I don't understand. He just glanced in the mirror and jumped. What drove him to it? His injuries weren't serious or deforming. Just a few scars and 5 stories down. What a loony! A temporary Oh, sorry, guys. I said that. I don't know why I read it. Oh, because that was kind of at the top. So you're supposed to read from the top to the bottom. Let's read that again. 5 stories down. What a loony. I don't understand. He just glanced in the mirror and jumped. What drove him to it? His injuries weren't serious or deforming. Just a few scars and a temporary discoloration of one eye caused by glass particles. The end. Now, my little friends, I want you to meet a friend of mine, Joe Snyder. He's a little man, but a big operator. Never misses an angle. Even made a deal with a werewolf. That's what I want to tell you about. It was a howling success. We shouldn't have stayed out so late. Police say there's a maniac loose. Don't worry, honey. You have me to protect you. Yeah! Bum! Always reading the racing results. Get out. Get a job. Make some money. Ah, shut up. I'm doing all right. Got a couple of deals cooking. Deals, smeals. You got nothing cooking. I'm tired of hearing about your worthless deals, you phony runt. I don't have to take that, you fat cow. Pig, litter the floor like an animal. Going out where I can get some peace and quiet. Going out to the gin mill like you have every night for the last 10 years. Any money we do get, you drink up. Old Battle Axe ought to be glad I go out. Leave her alone to stuff her face and get fatter and fatter. How's that for domestic bliss, eh? Actually, Joe's wife just doesn't understand him. He's got a lot of good ideas. Read on, friends. Ah, Biddy! Call me worthless. What'd she think she is? Only good she'd be is dead. Then our joint insurance policy would pay off. $10,000 if that's all, just kick off. Or if I'd find a way to kick her off. Good Lord! Help! Help! Oh, woo! It's right behind. The killer's a werewolf. Gotta get away. What's down this street here? The cemetery. What am I gonna do? The only entrance is way on the other side. Wait a minute. I'm just small enough to make it between these bars. Too big to get through the bars, huh? Joe Snyder's always got an angle. Ain't you satisfied? You nailed one guy tonight. Hey, that gives me an idea. How'd you like me to set you up a nice, easy victim? I help you and it helps me. Next full moon, I bring my wife to where I saw you first. Bingo! Easy kill for you and $10,000 insurance money for me. What do you say, werewolf? A deal? Yow! I thought you'd buy it. Otherwise, we keep steering across this fence till morning, then you change it into a man and I'd have some hot news for the cops. He's leaving. Let me go. It's gonna work. I'll be rid of Ethel and a rich man. What'd I tell you? Is Joe an operator? All he has to do now is set Ethel up and the biggest deal of his life is clinched. Come on, fellas and ghouls. Let's flip our calendars ahead to the next full moon. That's right, Big Mouth. You think I never come through with anything. Tonight I'm taking you with me to meet my partner in this latest deal. Let's hear you squawk. I'll go, you sniveling shrimp, just to call your bluff. What kind of crummy neighborhood is this your partner lives in? He's just meeting us here, you yammering hag. Shut up for a minute, can't you? There's the full moon. Where is he? What's he waiting for? Folks, she was actually considered fat back in the day. Hard to believe, yeah. Soon as it comes, I'll shove her forward, then jump in the car. Blast it! Where is that stupid werewolf? Smatter, Joe, lose your partner? Didn't I tell you to shut... Ethel, you're the werewolf, and this time there's no bars between us. Yeah! Heh. Goes to show you, no matter how long you live with a woman, you never really get to know her. Don't think Joe didn't get anything out of this with the joint insurance money. Ethel gave him a very nice funeral. Ah, well, as Joe would say, big deal. End. Last story leave you craving rest and relaxation? How about a nice quiet hotel room? We know just the spot. Plenty of room, no reservations needed. Just one thing, though. Some people say the hotel is haunted. I know the hotel is yours now, Mr. George, but I wish I could persuade you not to spend the night there. My uncle willed it to me, haunted or not. I ought to see what it's like. Ransom here is an authority on ghosts. I'll be safe with him along, Trask. My explorations of the supernatural seem to always yield a logical explanation. If you won't believe your lawyer, believe me, your own cousin. This hotel isn't logical. Please listen to Miss Wright. Since its creation, Greenhedge Lodge has a history of bloodshed, violence, and terror. It was constructed in 1865 on one of the bloodiest Civil War battle sites. Opening day, the building's architect went berserk and killed himself in the hotel lobby. The turn of the century saw the addition of a bridal suite. Its first occupants were butchered on their wedding bed by an insanely jealous, rejected suitor. One of the more recent owners was irresistibly drawn to the North Tower, making more and more compulsive excursions to its roof until its power became too strong. Friends tried to bring her in and she leaped from the tower. Then, of course, there was your uncle, found dead in the hotel office. Heart attack, they say. But it was more than that. The expression on his face, as though he'd been frightened to death. Most interesting. This may be the very place I'm looking for. If we can't talk you out of it, then we'll say good night and good luck. Good night. Seems run down, but at least they've kept the clock working. Midnight. What an hour to begin a stay in a haunted hotel. Bong, bong, bong. Forgo the melodrama, Mr. George. You'll only frighten yourself. There's no logical reason for ghosts to always appear at midnight. Why would the dead keep time schedules? At least we've got our choice of rooms. Hey! Kapow! A shot from downstairs in the lobby. There's nothing down here, except this. Civil War vintage, but recently fired. Just like the architect. Ransom! On your coat. Blood! Seems to be coming from the room above. Room above? That's the bridal suite. I don't like it. First this pistol, now this. But maybe my cousin and Mr. Trask were right. There's still time to get out of here. Nonsense. I can't believe this is the work of ghosts. There must be an explanation. Good Lord! A woman's scream! Aye! I can't stand much more of this, Ransom. Don't go any further. That's the door to the North Tower roof. We can't stop now. I'm sure that scream came from beyond here. I've had enough. Let's get out of here, Ransom. I don't want any part of this hotel. Curb your imagination, George. There must be an answer. Strange. There's no wind. Why should that door below shut? Click. Ransom. Look. Good Lord. Look out. George! Enough of this. There is always an explanation, and I think I know what it is. Crash. But on the roof, the ghost, you went right through. Believe me, George, I'd know a ghost if I saw one. Aha! This corridor must lead to the South Tower. And the answer, my cousin, Mr. Trask. How did you guess? How did you guess? You should have been scared off. We'd have bought the place dirt cheap from George and made a bundle when they built the new highway through the property. Showing the movie on the North Tower door should have clinched it. It was perfect the way we made it. Looked just like someone walking through the door. Cheap theatricals. No doubt what brought on the heart attack of Mr. George's uncle. Pig's blood squirted through the cracks in the floor. Antique pistols screaming through the ventilator system. Flesh and... Antique pistols, rather. Sorry, guys. I said that a little too fast. Antique pistols screaming through the ventilator system. Flesh and blood tricks. Hardly supernatural. Did you forget I'm an expert on ghosts? There. Since they're so fond of this room, let it be their prison until they can be properly taken care of. You weren't fooled for a minute. They really had me convinced this place was haunted. Click! Yet you knew instinctively it wasn't the work of ghosts. How, Mr. Ransom? How could you tell it wasn't a real ghost? I'm not a supernatural expert without reason. From their first trick it was obvious, but it amused me to see how far they'd go. The explanation is simple, Mr. George. You might say, it takes one to know one. Sure does. Why didn't George ask me? Haha, too late now. He doesn't stand a ghost of a chance. All right, fiends. Ready for a story that's really out of this world? Haha, way out in space? Pull your slimy little hulks onto the launching pad and get ready to orbit. Of course, I should warn you, your transportation is about to meet with an incident in the beyond. There goes Pluto. Nothing ahead but that big black beyond between our solar system and the nearest star. It's frightening, sir, thinking we'll be the first ones to cross it. With luck and this new space warp drive we're testing, we'll make it. And in minutes! I've never quite understood, sir. With our fastest drives, it would previously have taken half a lifetime to cross this void. Say we were going from one end of the string to the other. Regular drives would take you along the length of the string. The warp doesn't take you across space, but creates a warp like the loop in this string and allows you to pass through to your destination. They tried this warp business once before, didn't they, sir? Over 20 years ago without success. The test ship was never heard from after they cut in the warp drive. But they've had all this time to perfect it. I wouldn't have taken this run if I thought it would fail. We've almost reached the cut-in point ourselves. Then we'll know for sure. Captain, you're wanted down in communications control. They spotted something strange. What's happening? We're minutes away from the warp cut-in point. This is no time for trouble. Here on the scanner, sir, we've picked up an alien ship heading for us in the solar system. Who are they? Where could they be from? There's a whole galaxy behind them. They could be from anywhere. Send a signal so we can establish contact. Sir, we're sending on all frequencies. They're receiving but not answering. I don't like this. Sir, that test ship that disappeared years ago. How do we know it wasn't the victim of an alien attack? And it's strange that they'd appear right here, at the cut-in point. Almost as if they meant to stop us from trying the warp drive. They're still not answering, sir. If they were friendly, they'd acknowledge contact in some way. This is throwing a monkey wrench in the test. Tell them if they don't make contact, I'll have weapons deck open fire. They're turning to make a run for it. Sir, if they get away to their home planet, they carry the location of our solar system. We might be left wide open for attack. Weapons back. Commence firing. Don't let them get away. Dead on target. They're no menace now. Order the braking rockets fired. We still got the warp drive to test. If there's going to be trouble with an alien culture, it's more important to Earth than ever that we prove this space warp works. All systems checked and ready, sir. Stand by to cut in warp drive. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now! That's it. Everyone remain in harness. I want a complete check of all stations. Rocket control, check. Weapons deck, check. Communications control, come in. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Communications control, come in. Communications control, what's the trouble? The instruments were acting up when we came out of the warp drive, sir. It seems okay now. There it is. A whole new solar system. I'm sorry we're not going to have time to explore it. This trip was only to see if the drive works. Once we get news of this success back to Earth, there'll be plenty of exploring. All stations stand by for reverse warp. We're going home. Our own solar system looks good to me. Hey, what's that coming towards us? Another ship. Could be more alien trouble, but it's coming from our solar system. An entirely different type of ship from the one we blasted. Down the communications control. Let's clear this up. Instruments are fouled from the reverse warp. We're receiving, but can't send. Listen, they're contacting us. This is our ship 5435. Identify yourselves. Come in. Receive but not send? Just like the other. Good Lord, what have we done? The space warp distorts time as well as distance. The trip seemed like minutes to us, but on Earth the same amount of time passed by as if we'd gone the long way. That was no alien ship we destroyed. That was the first test ship returning. 20 years since anyone heard of us. When we don't make contact, this ship... When we don't make contact, this ship might think like we did about aliens. And quick, change course! Change! Ah, well, back to the drawing board. Someday they'll work the bugs out of that space warp. Until then, it looks like each trip will really be a blast! Now own a real Mystery Man mask. I still like these Horde decals. I think these are pretty cool. Like, those are still cool. Even, well, this shit was the 60s. So this is, I mean, 60, 70, 80, 90, 10, 10. Yeah, we're almost 100 years. I mean, nearly 100 years later, these things are still freaking cool. Miracle of Birth, that's a chicken egg. Perpetual solar engine. Monster rings. Step lively, friends. The Horror Express is about to depart. Got those commuter tickets in your grubby little hands? Join Arthur Forrest as he starts his return trip. It's taken 3 years, but I've finally done it. Oh, well, there was supposed to be an at last. But yeah, you get it. My will has triumphed over the grave itself. How convenient to be buried in the family plot. Just a short walk to my home and Gloria, my lovely, adoring wife. Arthur, you haven't changed yet, and we were due at the club 15 minutes ago. Flashback 3 years ago. Can't possibly leave now, dear. Have to check out this theory again. If I'm right, it means complete reorganization of our West Coast data processing units. Mother warned me about marrying a genius. Once you set your mind to a problem, nothing stops you. Talk about iron will. No need for you to miss the fun, Gloria. Fred Mason's usually there. Have him take you home. I may miss dancing with you at the club, but I refuse to miss kissing you goodbye. Perhaps I'll quit in a while and show up later. You know you won't leave that desk till the whole business is cleaned up. Too much power, and I wouldn't love you any other way. Beautiful, devoted, loving Gloria. Who would have thought that she'd murder me? Home at last. Place looks dark. No, there's light upstairs. Fred always said if this was his house, he'd use that upstairs room as a study. Fred Mason, my best friend. Flashback. You've done it again. This paper's brilliant. You've made fools out of the whole West Coast Research Division, including an electronic computer. What a brain. Computers can go wrong with obsolete data. Here's where they got off track. You're over my head, pal. Don't expect me to keep up with one of the most brilliant minds in the country. How's it going with the European project? Figures are intriguing. In fact, I just thought of something. Hey, Everyone forget about the party? That's where we're going, right? I think the genius is off and running again. I've just had some thoughts of this new project, darling. Perhaps Fred would be kind enough to take you. I understand. Oh, sorry. That's hold on. Wrong characters. I've just had some thoughts of this new project, darling. Perhaps Fred would be kind enough to take you. I understand. Unhand the slide rule long enough for me to kiss you goodbye. Fred Mason, loyal, true friend, announces engagement to my wife on the way back from the cemetery. Locked. All the windows seem to be. Wait! The patio door to the club room. We used to always keep it open. How could I ever forget the club room? Flashback. I can't believe we finally got Arthur away from his desk and out here to the club room. This is his first time here since he had built it. The way you've been working, buddy boy, you need a long rest. Here, Arthur, see what this one does for you. Good Lord, this drink! Poison, Arthur. Very fast acting, made by one of your own plants. Have a nice trip, Arthur. So my body died, but not my mind, nor my will. I knew what was happening every minute, but it takes time to muster the force to control a dead body, and Fred and Gloria had arranged a very hasty burial. Came off without a hitch, baby. The family doctor never even suspected the poison in Arthur's system. He always claimed Arthur had a weak heart. Why should he be suspicious? So long, Arthur. With the notes and studies you've left behind, I'm set with the company for life. Bye-bye, Arthur. Now I can live a life with a real man instead of a univac in a human case. Gloria, Fred, I've heard and I won't forget this. Even now I can feel the first unwilling muscle twitch at the drive of my will. It'll take time, but my brain and my will can do it. I've got eternity to work at it. I'll be back. I'll be back. A year, but I've done it. This worm-ridden, decaying corpse is completely under my control. 2 years, the coffin still hasn't weathered enough for these rotting muscles to break through the lid. 3 years. One more good rain, and the boards of this decomposing prison will give way, and I'll be free. Free! Now I'm back among the living, though they may not be for long. Open, just as I remembered. They've rearranged the rooms somewhat. Let's see. Fred's study should be at the end of this hallway. Right! Gloria, sweetheart, you back all... Ah! Why, Fred, is that a way to greet an old friend? Long time no see. Eh, buddy boy? Ah! I don't think you're happy to see me, pal. In fact, old friend, I'd say you were scared to death. Car just pulled in. Gloria must be back. Darling, I'm home. Fred! Yes, sweetheart, your husband's come home. No, stay back, please, Arthur. Don't kill me, my God, please don't kill me. Don't kill me. Mustn't run away, Gloria. Do you think your own husband would kill you, a beautiful, loving wife like you? I'm not going to kill you, my sweet life. We're going to live together like any happy, normal couple should. Forever and ever and ever. Ah! Now give your husband a great big kiss. Gasp is right. Well, old Arthur just stood... Excuse me. Well, old Arthur just stood for too much. But Gloria and he are happy together now. For you see, a friend dropped in and found Fred, Gloria, and a puddle of stinking slime. The police never could figure it out. But we know how it happened. Ha ha ha. Don't we, kiddies? Ha ha. Okay, guys. That's all for now. I'll do creepy number 4 at some point. I mean, you know, we might switch up to Vampirella or Eerie or whatever. But if you guys like this idea of me throwing the horror comics and the Power Rangers, which I'll also put up, don't worry, let me know. Because I want to bring more comics to you guys. And maybe it's not going to be volumes and volumes and volumes. But you got to understand, it takes a good 30 to 40, 50 minutes to read one of these creepies anyway. And that's with any of them. That's with Creepy, that's with Vampirella, that's with Eerie. You know, because it's a section of tales. It's a whole issue, 50 pages. Not bad. I think I went through it pretty quickly. But at any rate, guys, this is the Grim Lord, and we will see you next time on Grimm's Comics Corner. Remember, you can support us on Patreon/Grimm's Dungeon of Comics. Anything helps. You can just give $1. Comic fan. Awesome. It would help me. Trust me. All right, I'm out.